Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's me again. Yes, I'm back. I know. 3 weeks in a row. It's got to be some kind of record or streak for me. Well, not that kind of streak. Anyway, today is Friday the 13th, and I'm not sure how it plays out in the rest of the world. I know here it's a pretty big deal between slasher flicks from the 80s when I was a teen to people just being afraid of an arbitrary number. I don't know where that comes from. That's something I need to do a little research on. I do know that there are hotels, if they're above a certain number of floors, you won't find a number 13. Now, it's not to say that the 13th floor doesn't exist, but to assuage the fears of the unwashed masses, as it were, they kind of obliviate that choice of being on the 13th floor. I don't know why. I don't know why it's a bad thing. I don't understand any of that. I know if it were me, I would love to live on the 13th floor. As a kid, it's like, ooh, Friday the 13th, bad things are going to happen. But as I got older, I reversed that and I took it upon myself and I traded that fear of 13 into making it a lucky number for me. I don't necessarily believe in luck or bad luck in that way. I use the word karma a lot. I don't think karma is a real thing. I think it's a coping mechanism for some people, thinking, well, someone did something bad to me, so karma is going to get you. I guess if you believe in that sort of thing, then it's true. And if you don't believe in that sort of thing, then that's not true either. As a regular listener pointed out, they weren't sure where I was looking, so I moved the camera over to the big monitor as opposed to sitting on top of my laptop, because I never look where I'm supposed to look. I'm always looking off to the side or out the window, or I have squirrel syndrome, so I may see something, ooh, squirrel, and there it is. I did a little bit of quick research, and Triskadeka-phobia, it is the fear of the number 13. One article I read from dictionary.com, or I'm sorry, Merriam-Webster.com, says, it is impossible to say just how or when the number 13 got its bad reputation. There are a number of theories, of course. Some say it comes from the Last Supper because Jesus was betrayed afterwards by one among the 13 present. Others trace the source of the superstition back to ancient Hindu beliefs or Norse mythology. I don't know. According to this, the fear of the number 13 in print dates back only to the late 1800s. By around 1911, however, it was prevalent enough to merit a name, which was formed by attaching the Greek word for 13, Triskadeka, and adding phobia to it, which means the fear of. So fear of 13. I kind of like it. I think it's a cool day. I especially like it when it lands in October. I think that adds a little bit of spookiness to it, like, ooh, spooky month, spooky day. So I kind of enjoy it a lot more when it ends up then, but I'll take any Friday the 13th, really. And not the slasher flick from the 80s. It was a good movie, or movies. I think they, like anything else Hollywood does, they ran it into the ground, and they destroyed the franchise, really. But I believe Friday the 13th is the one that took place at Camp Crystal Lake, which is in my home state of New Jersey. And I don't know if it's still there, but there used to be a life-size, let's see, that was, Michael Myers statue buried in the lake so divers could see it. I don't know how I'd feel swimming up to that. I might panic a little bit if I didn't know it was there, but a good clean scare for everyone. So whether you like 13 or hate 13, today is your day or not, and I hope you have a great one either way, and I hope nothing bad happens to you, although I still don't see how a specific day has anything to do with good luck or bad luck. If you see behind me over here, there's a bunch of yarn. I got it from that free site I belong to. Someone was moving their mother out of the house, and she said that she had sewing stuff, so I picked some up a few months ago, and then I kept in contact with her. Not to be first in line for the free stuff, but just because she became a friend. And I have a mother that's close to that age, so you start worrying about your loved ones. So I want to keep up with her, and I would check in with her every few weeks or every month or so, see how her mom was doing, see how she was doing. And she finally got to the point where she was ready to clean all the craft stuff out. So I got quite a haul. And I feel bad. A friend of mine pointed out, like, should you feel bad when you're going into a house like that? And I'm like, kinda, because it's almost like you're a scavenger. But I look at it more from the standpoint of, rather than give the stuff to someone who's not going to use it and just hoard it all or throw it out, which a lot of people just throw stuff out. I was guilty of that before I knew Facebook groups like the one I belonged to existed. I threw out a countless number of things and stuff that someone may have been able to use because it wasn't necessarily broken, but I just didn't want it anymore, or it didn't go with my decor or whatever. But just a rough man of the street estimate, this group has probably saved tons of stuff from going to a landfill because someone else can use it. So I got like 3 or 4 trash bags, like big contractor trash bags full of yarn and some other stuff, and I've already distributed about 90% of the stuff I got, because the second reason she chose me, or the second reason I went, was because she chose me out of this group of people because she knew that I would share. I have no desire to take on everything in the world and keep it all to myself. I don't see any reason for it. I don't understand the mindset behind it. Am I guilty of it? Absolutely. There were times in the past when I would just take stuff, or buy stuff, or be a rabid consumer and just give me, shut up and take my money kind of thing. And now that I'm older, I passed the halfway mark. I am officially an old man now at 50 something. Where was I going? Oh yeah. So I've distributed a lot of the stuff. I'm giving away, 2 normal sized garbage bags at least to, sure, they're waitresses at the taco place that I go to every week, but they're really becoming friends because they ask how we're doing. We have more of a friendship kind of chat when we're there than we do, you're my customer, so I'm going to be nice to you. Now, I've never once felt that Caroline and Taylor were the kind of waitresses that would butter you up to get a better tip. Neither one is that way. So it's really gratifying to me to give them yarn. Caroline had talked about she was just starting to crochet and she's trying to learn knitting. And I gave her a few skeins of yarn back in October, somewhere around October. And then she mentioned that the other girl, Taylor, that we know, also does crochet. So I'm going to surprise them. Now, I told them I had some yarn from them. I didn't tell them how much. So I can't wait to see the looks on their faces when I give them each a garbage bag full or trash bag full of yarn. Some of it is really nice stuff. Some of it's kind of okay stuff. And it's stuff that I will not use because it's wool, because I'm allergic to wool, or it's a color I won't use, or it's more than I'm ever going to use. I'm just new to this side of crafting, so I don't know how much yarn I need for knitting or crocheting or whatever art project and piece of art I come up with. So yeah, it's a good feeling, and people say, what do you get out of it? I get the satisfaction and the happiness of making someone else happy and helping someone else out. And I think that's a really cool thing to do. It doesn't cost me anything because I didn't pay anything for the yarn. So, I got that going for me. I'm recycling, which is good for the planet and good for the environment. So, got that going for me. More brownie points and more bonus points. And if you believe in such a thing, it's good for my karma. It's good for my karmic scale, as it were, if you will. As one does. I don't know. Sometimes the words just start flowing and there's no filter. In here, out here, boom. Moving on from the crafting stuff, what else is going on? Apparently, in a certain garage in a certain state on the East Coast, documents were discovered that they have no idea how they could have possibly gotten there. Now, I'm no legal expert. I'm no constitutional lawyer, much to your surprise. I know You're just as surprised as I am about this. But from what I understand and what I've read, only the president can classify or declassify documents and papers and whatnot. So when this stuff disappeared from a certain now president's office, it was classified. He shouldn't have had it. It shouldn't have been where it was. And it certainly should not have gone from his office to his home. I don't see how there's any reason for this to happen. And he's just as shocked as anyone. Well, based on his performance, I don't know that he's all that shocked so much as clueless, and he has no idea what's going on around him except for what people tell him. So there you go. I think it's funny how when one side does it, it's super duper illegal, and the person perpetrating the crime should be shot. Where with this one, it's let's take a wait and see attitude. So yeah, maybe one should have turned stuff over, but I think both of them should have turned stuff over. And they're saying one side was a notorious destroyer of documents, and the other guy is a straight arrow and a super duper Boy Scout. And I don't understand it. I think if it's illegal for one, it should be illegal for all, not this pick and choose sort of attitude, and where we just say, oh well, he didn't mean it, so it's okay, we'll let it slide, whatever. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And you know me, I try to not be political about this stuff, but this really aggravates me. It really just irks me to no end that some people can get away with stuff, other people can't. I would be more apt and more willing to forgive someone or believe someone if they looked at me in the face and said, yeah, I did it, so what? Rather than lie about it or obfuscate or any of those things that people do to try to hide the truth from others. If you're guilty, you're guilty. Big deal. Fess up, do your penance, accept your punishment, and move on. And we can forget about it rather than, oh, I would never do such a thing, and I can't believe this person did that, and I can't believe this happened and that happened, when you're just as guilty as the person you're pointing the finger at. Just remember, if you point one finger at others, there's three fingers pointing back at you. I don't know. Something a grade school teacher told me once. Excuse me as I take a sip of my iced tea. And just for a quick wrap up and to make this a Triskadeka-trio, gas stoves. Good for me, not for you. There's been a lot of hullabaloo lately around a governmental agency that wants to ban gas stoves in your home. I think this is all part of a push to get us on to electric, which is no better than gas, really. It's more expensive usually. And if you've ever cooked on both a gas stove and an electric stove, you will know that one is vastly superior to the other. It heats up quicker, your food is done quicker, it's more even, it's superior in pretty much every way. I've been stuck with houses that have electric stoves, and they suck. It takes forever for water to boil. It takes forever for food to cook, and I just don't understand it. But now they're throwing out things like science, and their studies have shown. What studies? How long have these studies been going on? And it's funny. One of the people that is one of the biggest proponents of this has a gas stove in her home, and she was shown using it recently. So it's okay for her, not for everyone else. This elitist attitude that people in government have, that it's good for me, not for you. You're a common peasant. You're a serf, and don't look over here at what I'm doing. Pay attention to what you're doing. And I don't want to be a conspiracy guy, but there's definite, I'm not sure if evidence is the right word, but there are indications. We'll keep everything on a level playing field here and call it indications that they want to control us. I look at the egg shortage. Suddenly chickens are no longer laying eggs. I don't understand how that happened. For millennia, the chickens have laid eggs, and now suddenly they're not. And it's totally not us, fingers crossed. Wink, wink. We didn't have anything to do with it. But I think things like that and trying to get us all to the electric grid, like with the cars, the state I live in, within the next 13 years, they want to outlaw, and not outlaw, but ban. Ban is a better word, apparently. They want to ban any sales of gas-powered internal combustion engines here. So I guess that means diesel, but they're not really talking about the diesel part, they're talking about the gasoline. So there you go. That's going to do it for this show. I know it's not as long as others. It's shorter than some, longer than others. So I try to hit for about the 15 to 16 minute mark, and the clock is rapidly ticking down. So I will say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Have a great Friday the 13th. Hope you learned something. I hope you got something out of it. As always, it's just my 2 cents worth. Your mileage may vary. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend ahead, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. God bless, and I love you all.